Hey everyone, this is Isaac.
And this is Jackie.
From Nonessential Media, and you are listening to the Beach City CROWS podcast. This podcast is all about our favorite cartoons, mine being Steven Universe.
And mine being Haikyuu.
Just a warning, this episode will feature spoilers for Steven Universe Season 3 through Season 4.
And spoilers for Haikyuu through Season 3, Episode 4.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy. Welcome back, everyone, to the Beach City CROWS podcast. My name is Isaac, and today I am watching Haikyuu, and with me is...
My name's Jackie, and I'm watching Steven Universe.
And we're just going to jump right into it. What do you want to start with first?
I mean, or do you want to traditionalize this and keep going with Steven Universe first?
Yes.
Okay. So I watched 10 episodes of Steven Universe because I have got to get through 60 episodes quickly. Isaac is actually going to finish Haikyuu before I finish Steven Universe, so we're trying to get through this as quick as I can. The first 3 episodes I watched were actually the end of Season 3 of Steven Universe, and then the next 7 that I watched were the first 7 of Season 4. So in case y'all forgot, it's been a while, but where we left off with Steven Universe, what was the last thing I watched with Steven Universe?
I don't know
if you guys know how this works. It's been like over a month since I've watched Steven Universe. It's been a long time.
We kind of just went on like a little mini break.
Yeah, it was too long. But anyways, the first episode I watched was Earthlings. And they are at the kindergarten where Jasper came from, and have discovered that Jasper has been caging up these monsters for some reason. They're not really sure why yet. And Jasper, of course, shows up. And Amethyst tries to sneak up on Jasper because Amethyst definitely, her insecurities around not being good enough continue, of course. Because Jasper, I think, is kind of portrayed as being more perfect. Like, she also came from Earth and also came from kindergarten and all this stuff, but isn't flawed like Amethyst seems to think she's flawed. Anyway, so Amethyst tries to sneak up on Jasper and can't because Jasper's better than Amethyst. So they get into a fight, and, Amethyst kind of gets the crap kicked out of her, and there's still a lot of talk about purpose, which I think is the big theme that is going to be the theme throughout this entire show, that you think you have a purpose, or that society tries to tell you that you have a purpose, but really your purpose is for you to live your best possible life, which is more or less the conversation that happens. But the big thing, and this is the most important thing, is that Amethyst and Steven actually fused. Yeah, this was the first time they've fused to make Smoky Quartz.
Smoky Quartz.
So I only have one issue with this design. Why is there 3 arms?
I thought the same thing. I don't know why. It's just, I think extra limbs have to do with the status of the relationship, but then that would mean Steven and Amethyst would make a quote-unquote more gem-looking gem instead of one with like 3 arms, if that makes sense. I guess it's just from their design standpoint, they really like that, so I guess they went with it. I don't know the actual like meaning behind an extra limb or something like that.
I don't either, obviously. So then Jasper accidentally decides to free all these monsters, and Jasper actually fused with one of the monsters. It didn't last very long, though. No. Jasper really isn't really into this force fusion thing.
Yeah,
I feel like Jasper needs to see a therapist.
It's kind of a sick thing.
It is, yeah. Well, the monster doesn't stay fused with her. And she says this line that I'm sure a lot of people sobbed over later, even though I didn't. She says, "Nobody I fuse with ever wants to stay." Well, maybe you shouldn't force them to fuse with you, crazy mother... That would be a good start. While this is happening, Jasper's actually kind of transforming. I guess getting corrupted from the forced fusion would be my guess. And Steven tries to heal her, because Steven's big thing is he thinks that love and understanding will solve all the problems in the world, so he's trying to love and understand his way into Jasper's heart. What a sweet kid. But of course Jasper is completely against this, because Jasper is so closed off and focused on her mission that she's not willing to allow Steven the chance. And she definitely thinks that... Well, she sees Steven, of course, as his mom, as everyone does. They only see Steven as his gem. They don't see him as Steven, which I think is another pretty big theme in the show, for sure. But anyways, while Jasper's getting transformed, Jasper actually gets skewered, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is pretty lit. By Peridot. Peridot finally got her crap together and learned how to metal bend properly, and throws a metal skewer at her from one of the jail cells, and she gets poofed. And then Amethyst bubbles her. And she's like,
"Goodbye, sis.
Goodbye,
Boom.
sis." Actual dialogue? No.
Bye, sis.
Bye, sis. The next episode was Back to the Moon. My favorite Stooges are back, the Rubies. I love the Rubies. They're mad because they got sent to Neptune to find Jasper, and of course Jasper's not
so
actually
gullible.
They are. It's adorable. I just want to like have them as pets.
Yeah.
You know. Although I'd get annoyed really fast.
Yeah.
Well, Amethyst decides to pretend to be Jasper by shapeshifting into Jasper. And the Rubies are dumb enough to believe this, of course.
Totally don't realize that Jasper's not purple.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've ever actually seen Jasper.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. The Rubies, of course, think Jasper's the coolest thing ever, so they're all about it. And Amethyst actually tells them that everyone else is Jasper's prisoners, which they're not, but, you know. But anyways, so they try to get Amethyst, who is shapeshifted as Jasper, to go back to Homeworld with them. Amethyst, of course, is like, no, why don't you just send a report? And they're like, well, you'll need to do the report yourself. And anyways, somehow Amethyst, of all people, convinces the Rubies, which shows you how stupid they really are, that they should just go to the moon to send a transmission to Homeworld. But of course, when they get up to the moon, things don't go according to plan. The big thing from this episode was that they finally talk about Pink Diamond, who's been kind of the... not really shadowy figure, but this we know
mysterious.
We know Pink Diamond exists. We know that, and they talk about how the Earth was Pink Diamond's colony, and the big reveal, of course, is that Rose Quartz, Steven's mom, shattered Pink Diamond, this is a big thing for Steven. Like, you know, his mom in his eyes, and from all the stories he's heard, has always been
best mom.
Best mom award. And now he's finding out that...
Bad mom.
Bad mom award. You know, maybe... But it's interesting because as a viewer, you kind of have to stop and you almost want to tell Steven, like, well, think about it from, you know, like your mom's perspective. You know, you want Steven to think about it from a different perspective, and that is that Pink Diamond was destroying the planet, you know, and sometimes, unfortunately, that is the option. The option, you know, obviously, Rose thought the correct option was to shatter Pink Diamond, which is a big deal because Diamond's definitely, so far, the way they've kind of laid out the universe, so to speak, Diamonds seem to be very, very powerful. Like indestructible. Yeah, so you're kind of like, how is that even possible? And especially when we had the backstory with Bismuth, where Rose seemed to be really, really against this, shattering gems, but then shatters Pink Diamond. I don't know, I think there's something more to this than... There's something more to it, but Steven's really shook. They get up to where the communicator is supposed to be, and of course it's gone, because that was way, way back when Peridot joined them. Period. And then Amethyst breaks form, and they catch Amethyst having broken form, and they go to fuse and attack. Steven decides to be a complete dumbass and opens the freaking door, and they get sucked into the vast, endless vacuum of space. Well, perfect. But unfortunately Steven goes with them. Steven doesn't need to breathe, so that's good. But it's interesting because the next episode, Bubbled, Steven's in a bubble. And I'm going to get to this point, to the end eventually. Instead of going linear, though, I just want to mention one thing. At some point, Steven unbubbles the bubble, and he holds his breath, and then rebubbles. So my question is, does this bubble produce oxygen? Because otherwise, going back to the very first episode when he bubbled with Connie, I was like, do they not have to breathe? You know, do they not have to breathe? Well, now it's like, well, clearly Steven has to breathe because he held his breath in space. You would think maybe he was trying to not let his lungs get sucked. I don't know. It's very confusing. Yeah. I have questions. I need answers. Thank you. If anyone can answer that question, please let me know.
Also, the question about the extra limbs infusions, that would be awesome.
Yes, if you can answer those, I really would like to know. I'm curious at this point. As long as it's not a spoiler. I don't think it will be a spoiler. I think it's just questions I have. Well, anyways, on traveling with Steven throughout the vastness of space is Ruby.
I was like, Jackie? She's in space?
I'm traveling with Steven. The Ruby with the ruby eyes traveling with Steven, and they're kind of hanging out. You know, this is the thing, is it goes back to Steven just being like a really, like, loving dude. Like, this kid just wants to love everyone, and he wants everyone to love everybody. He's very naive and very innocent. And they're having a good time until they get to the asteroids, this little asteroid belt. Which, how far have they flown? Like, is this like the asteroid belt that's like in our solar system, or are they still flying somewhere? Like, again, more questions.
They gone.
R.I.P. They gone. Ruby gets clobbered with an asteroid and actually gets her gem cracked. Steven pulls her into the bubble and licks her eyeball.
Yes.
That's Isaac's kink, his eyeballs, apparently. He discovers something more about us every episode. It's also true that every episode of this podcast strays further from God. I don't even know why he responded that way, but now I do. Anyways, so and a huge thing too is this Ruby was going on and on about how much she wanted to meet Rose. Well, now she's discovered that Steven is Rose.
Ain't gonna get it.
And it wants to kill Steven. So Steven is in this bubble in space, about to get stabbed to death by Ruby.
With a little dagger.
With a little dagger. I want to point out it had no point.
It was more or less like,
I'm
gonna try and crack your gem with this.
Yeah, it kind of looked like Ruby was supposed to be like,
was she gonna scrape his gem off, or
just go right into the belly button and pull it out?
I think it was more of like a damage to the skin type. I don't know. Maybe.
It was very confusing. It doesn't matter because Steven yeeted her out of there and into the vastness of space. Bye, iRuby. Like, but it goes to show. And then he was like really, just his reaction to it, to having to defend himself and fling this Ruby out into the vastness of space. You can tell it messes with him. Like, it's very... he's not built for fighting. Mm-hmm. He really should not be inheriting his mom's sword, so to speak.
Yeah. And I'm so glad Connie took the sword.
Yeah, because she's a badass.
Yeah.
The next episode was a kindergarten kid. So this had to have been inspired by Looney Tunes.
Yeah, they came out and said it was.
Okay, because there was a lot of, like, Looney Tune-esque gags.
Yep.
So they're all out there bubbling monsters, and they can't... There's this one really weird-looking Roadrunner type thing that gets away. Peridot decides she's going to be the one to get this little bastard, and Steven decides to help. There's a couple things that kind of got me laughing a little bit here. One was Peridot has Perry plans, and Steven said, "What's the pee-pee?" I had to pause it because I was laughing.
She's like, "Pull down your pants."
Oh my god. He is a child. He is a child. And then the other thing was, so Peridot keeps coming up with these plans and overthinking really, and fails over and over and over again. After having so many things fall on her, decides that they'll just go to the peakest peak of all the peaks and push a rock off onto the Roadrunner-esque thing, because that definitely works every time.
Perfect.
And even says, at this height, nothing can fall on us. But then Peridot gets pushed off by the Roadrunner and has the rock fall on top of her.
That was freaking hilarious.
That was really good. That was really good. The best part is that Peridot does end up defeating this thing after they're both crushed, and Bubbles the monster. And this is one of those episodes that could have been. It was fun. It was really weird having this episode happen after having so many episodes back to back to back that were moving the plot along very quickly.
Nothing different from the Steven Universe formula.
Yeah, it really isn't, but it
just really is kind of yeah.
It kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing. It was fun, though. I think they did a really good job with what they were trying to go for. It was funny. Like, definitely that, like, the irony of having the rock fall on her is, like, so good. So I will give them that, for sure. And Peridot's definitely officially part of the team. Like, she's out there with them every episode, so gotta give her credit for that. The next episode was Know Your Fusion. So, Steven and Amethyst decide that they have to show off, because of course they get asked by, well, which this happened like a long time ago, and now there's something wrong with the order of this episodes. Smoky Quartz shows up in Earthlings, and then they went to go bubble more monsters, and then they talk about Smoky Quartz.
Yeah.
Pearl and Garnet were asking Steven and Amethyst about how they were able to finally defeat Jasper, and they were talking about their fusion. They show off Smoky Quartz, and Pearl and Garnet really kind of decide to take the luster away from the moment and fuse into Sardonyx, and then take them into this room they have, which apparently this room only exists when Sardonyx is there, and it creates they create a fake talk show, and they use this talk show as a way to try and find out more about Smoky Quartz, and they decide to put Smoky Quartz through a series of tests. It really kind of backfires on them, because it was kind of mean. It's kind of mean. It backfires on them, and everyone ends up unfusing as Garnet and Pearl both individually realize that they had overshadowed Smoky Quartz moment. Instead of just being excited for them and excited for the new fusion, it was almost like they were inadvertently one-upping them.
Pissed.
Yeah, I don't know if that was what they meant to do, but then they kind of realized that what they were doing was sort of raining on the parade of smoky quartz.
You're like, goddamn, smoky quartz can't have all of the...
Yeah, exactly. The next episode was Buddy's book. Buddy's book. So they finally decided to bring back up that stupid play episode that they did.
Love it.
Love it. Carney.
Carne asada is in... Connie from now on is known as Carne asada.
Carne asada. Dude, I'm just getting hungry. Am I ever not hungry when we do this show? That's the real question.
Without fail.
Oh my god. Okay. Connie and Steven go to the library. Steven's never been to a library in his life because he's never had to learn anything.
Makes sense.
And Connie is very serious about her schoolwork because her mom makes her. I wonder what kind of person Connie would be without her mom guiding her constantly. But,
Drugs.
Wow, that went really dark. That's a good thing she has such overprotective parents. Where's her dad? I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, Steven decides, Connie actually tells him to go wander off and look around, and he discovers underneath a bookshelf a journal. And it is the journal of Buddy Budwick.
Buddy Budweiser.
First mate of First Dewey.
First Dookie.
First Dewey. First Dew Eater. And they go through this journal, and it really kind of tells the story of what he was up to afterwards. And he decides he's going to go exploring. Well, he ends up running into the Crystal Gems, everyone except for Amethyst, so two of them, Garnet and Pearl. And they give him a map and tell him to go to all these cool places, and everywhere he goes is somehow connected to the Crystal Gems. And he documents everything that he sees, and ends up actually ending up at kindergarten, at which point he meets Amethyst, where he meets Amethyst, and Amethyst and him start talking, and he realizes that he hasn't actually been exploring anything because these are all places that have already been discovered. So Amethyst points him in a different direction and says, why don't you go find this moving castle on the sand, which last time we had anything to do with castles in the sand was Lion.
Yeah.
And he gets there and is gonna die, and then he sees Rose Quartz, so Steven's mom. He actually meets Steven's mom and her 7 lions.
Wait, can I just point out 7 Lions is an EDM techno band that I just listened to last night. Anyways, go on.
Really? I wonder if that's the inspiration for there being... I think there were 7 lions anyways, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of lions. She is a lion tamer. This is an episode where I feel like they were world building, and they were kind of showing, like...
the past.
Yeah, the past, and sort of like how much of an impact the Crystal Gems really could have had and that kind of stuff, kind of in the same vein as the play episode. It's just very far removed from everything else that we've been doing, so it just felt like it could have been somewhere else in the series, maybe not in this critical juncture here. Which, of course, the big bad of this critical juncture was Jasper, who's been defeated, so maybe there's no big bad right now. The next episode is Mindful Education, where Connie is obviously in a bad mood and can't take a joke to save her life. Well, then it turns out Connie and Steven were there to do their fusion training, and it doesn't last very long. And while they're training, they see this kid, and they unfuse. Steven's like, what is going on? Connie is having a breakdown. So Garnet decides to sing them a song. And Connie reveals to them, before that, of course, that she had beat a kid up. It turns out she didn't really beat him up. He bumped into her, and she just tossed him over her shoulder. It wasn't even that big of a deal. I mean, and she's like traumatized by this action. It shows you what a sweet, sweet girl she is. Anyways, Garnet sings about him. Again, back to the amazing music of the show. Fantastic. Can never complain. Garnet teaches them all about connecting and all that fun stuff. Well, then they end up being able to refuse again. But the big thing from this episode was that even after they refuse, it turns out Steven has some hang-ups too, and it's all of the people that they have defeated in these 107 or 8 episodes.
His
mom. No, actually, it wasn't one of those hang-ups.
You are your mom.
You are your mom. Which is huge, because this is the big thing to take away from this episode is how much Connie and Steven really do care. And again, it goes back to the episode Bubbled, where he had such a hard time dealing with having to defend himself against Ruby. And you can see that this is starting to weigh on him. And he's, again, just not built for this lifestyle. He's not built to fight. And he's just, and it also, it helps remind me, too, about how young they are. Because the gems, as we just saw in the previous episode, are, of course, just a reminder that they're thousands upon thousands of years old. I mean, they're literally ancient, older than Earth itself in many ways. Their society is, and, of course, these gems themselves are much older than anything in Beach City. And Steven and Connie are just young kids, and they're still trying to, they gotta find a way to deal with the violence that's around them, or they have to find a way to end the violence that's around them. It's the only way that they're gonna really get through this. And yeah, Steven and Connie, they're just sweet kids, and it's unfortunate that they're in the situation that they're in. Although Connie has chosen to be...
She really has.
Yeah, she decided to pick up the sword because Steven was her dearest friend, which is cool, and Steven's just kind of stuck in it, which, unfortunately, for someone as sweet as Steven, that means he's going to have a lot of trauma, which is definitely revealed in this episode. So that was my big takeaway from Mindful Education.
Here comes a thought.
Here comes a thought. Next episode is Future Boy Zoltron.
Love it. Oh my god, amazing. Woo!
Steven breaks an arcade game, and he is forced to then, an arcade game that can tell the future, and he is then forced to dress up as Zoltron, which sounds like he should be an enemy.
Sounds like he's dressing up as a...
This is, again, continuing the theme of Steven being a little sweetheart. The best part is Onion is about to run into the arcade with a crowbar, and Steven as Zoltron stops him and tells him that he sees jail time in his future, so Onion runs away and then comes back with a stocking cap over his head so no one can tell it's him. Love Onion. It. Onion, you're bae, Onion. We're going to go ahead and... Well, okay, so... Steven then sits there and gives people a bunch of false bullcrap, future, hope, happiness, nonsense that Steven loves to spiel out. And then some really depressed guy comes up and sticks a quarter in, and no matter what Steven says, just can't make it better. Well, Garnet knew this was going to happen, so she comes by and gives him future vision because she knows everything. And with his future vision, Steven realizes that he can't say anything nice and positive to him because you know what, Steven? Sometimes life freaking sucks, okay? And it's just nothing but tragedy in your future, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And Steven now is facing this, and I guess I could continue and explain the rest of the episode, but more or less, this guy was half of the, whatever they were called, laugh face, sad face, frowny face duo, and they get reunited thanks to Steven. But it goes back to the most important thing from these episodes is, again, Steven's desire to be helpful. It doesn't matter, he wanted to help Jasper, he wanted to help iRuby, he wanted to help Peridot. He wanted to, he did help Connie, but he's hung up on all the people that he's harmed. It's just showing you, I feel like that was like the main takeaway from this batch for me, for sure. And since we're doing 10 episodes, I'm doing 10 episodes, there was 2 more episodes that I got to watch instead of my regular 8. I'm doing 10 to get through as many as I can before Isaac runs out of Haikyuu to watch. Because he's almost there. He's halfway there. The next episode was the last one out of Beach City. This was mainly a Pearl episode in my eyes. So Amethyst, Pearl, and Steven decided they're going to go to a rock show. And Pearl's just kind of trying to show that she knows how to have fun and let loose and be a crazy girl. And Pearl runs into a girl with pink hair.
Mystery girl.
Mystery girl. Yes, the ending credits of this episode were really funny. Yes, Mystery Girl as herself. Into Mystery Girl. And so number 1, is Pearl still hung up on Rose, or is she just attracted to pink hair? That's the real question.
Both.
Okay, fair enough. Pearl is crazy in this episode. She's like trying really hard to show that she is cool.
Yeah.
The cops could try to pull her over, and she goes on a high-speed chase.
Love it.
Which actually I think had more drifting than Beach City Drift.
You didn't have to come for Beach City Drift like that.
And she does actually manage to outrun the police, but then they run out of gas. So they have to walk. They end up walking to the show, where Mystery Girl is, and Pearl gets Mystery Girl's number without even realizing that's what she did.
Pearl's cool.
Pearl, you are apparently really cool. I didn't know. I couldn't tell this whole time you being a helicopter mom. In training, Connie had a sword fight. It turns out you're a badass. Congratulations, Pearl. Give it up for our girl, Pearl. This was kind of nice, though, to see that different side of Pearl, that she is aware that people see her as someone who's very stuck up and very strict in her ways. she really isn't. She couldn't be, because otherwise how would she have been able to rebel against the Diamond Authority? You know, that's not... Well, obviously Rose played a huge part in that. But if she was so... If the rules meant more to her than her love for Rose or her love for anyone else, then she wouldn't be where she's at. So of course she's got a rebel side to her. She has to. It was also kind of surprising, I think, seeing that there is... She went through the entire spectrum of emotions in this episode, which was pretty cool, because I don't think they've really done that with her. Like, we've seen her go through different emotions, but not such a wide spectrum of emotions, which was really cool about this episode. Definitely a Pearl episode. It was fun. I liked it. Next episode was Onion Gang. I just closed my notebook because I had 0 notes on it.
Pinto, Garbanzo.
Yeah, they're all named after beans, because they're little beans, which they just left. Okay, so this episode... For the unaware, number one, you should be watching Steven Universe if you're listening to this podcast. Go watch Steven Universe. Or you should have already seen it. But anyways, so this episode pretty much is Steven thinks Onion's the poor kid who doesn't have any friends. Turns out that's actually Steven who doesn't have any friends. But Onion introduces him to the Onion Gang, and at the end of the episode, the kids leave because it's the fall is here, so they're leaving. So they're only in Beach City for the summer, like summer vacation. Where did they go? They're just kids. There's a group of children, and they're just wandering the world. Like, it wasn't like they got into a vehicle and like drove off. It's not like they like, I mean, it's not like they went back to their mommy and daddy. It's like they went into the forest for hibernation. What is going on in this world?
It's Onion and his friends, you know?
I mean, that's enough right there. That's all you really got to say. But I still love Onion. I think he's great. He's so funny. And he's a good friend, too. That's a big thing, is I don't think, you know... And he cried, and I was like, oh, Onion, no. Someone hug Onion. And then Steven did. I was like, Steven, are you going to lick his eyeball the way you licked Ruby's eyeball?
I just remembered that meme I tagged you in on Twitter, where he throws the leaf. And
that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. He was just like...
I love that, like, all of the gems just follow in after it.
And he's just like... That was the best thing. Plus, no But again, the big takeaway from these episodes is how much Steven cares. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to balance out what a softie he is with what his destiny is. Which clearly, the Gem Society... and the Diamond Authority are the big bad. Like, that's clear at this point.
They're going to have to get violent.
Yeah, so how is he going to be able to balance out his soft heart and his desire to not hurt anyone and heal everyone's wounds, whether that's spiritually, emotionally, physically, with the fact that he's facing an evil, genocidal empire who will stop at nothing to continue to conquer.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, but... Yes, there's my 30 minutes on my 10 episodes of Steven Universe. And you have started the match against...
Season 3!
Match against Siri Toy.
This is the game. This is the game for Nationals.
Yep.
For anyone that's been watching with us...
Which if you haven't been, you need to.
This is the game that tells us who goes to Nationals. I'm going to be talking about Season 3, Episodes 1 through 4. So Episode 1 is called Polite Greetings. I went into this thinking it was going to be, you know, like every beginning of a season is. You have to set up the team, set up the characters, but they do it in a cool way that's like, they're still going into this game, obviously, and they show you perspective of Kurosno, but they also show you perspective of Shira Torizawa.
Yeah.
And they kind of show you all of the different personalities on that team. Going into this, I was hyped. And I'm like tripping over my words.
That's how hyped you are.
Hinata on his bike, just looking at that mountain. He's like, I want to know what's over that summit. And you're like, just go over that summit right now. Just hike that mountain right before the game. And then he gets to their gym, and Kageyama opens the door, and he's like, you ready, Hinata? And then boom. I have to say it. This is my honest review. It has been throughout the whole... I don't really like this intro. In terms of music.
I'm out.
In terms of music.
No, this song is lit. How can you say that? This song is one of the most inspiring songs. Like, how can you not just feel so hyped and just want to go and, like...
After coming off the high from the end of Season 2 with the Fly High intro, nothing tops it. I'm sorry. But I will say the animation and the imagery is top tier in this intro. Like, it is, I mean, obviously, what are you expecting? Like, this is the best of the best in terms of animation and intro. Some would say music. I wouldn't, but that's fine.
I think the song goes. You can't have the imagery without that message of the song, though.
That's true. Exactly. Right off the bat from the intro, I'm seeing a lot of crazy shiznit go on. So I'm wondering if that's gonna be in this game, because there's a lot of like Nishinoya receiving, which from these 4 episodes is, yeah, it happens.
Definitely a focal point. Definitely.
Yeah. Right after the intro, they go to, is it the Miyagi?
Sendai City Gymnasium.
Sendai City Gymnasium. Right off the bat, Yui walks up with her friends, and there's a quote from Daichi when she walks up, and he says, "Oh, Yui, I'm so glad you came." And of course, right after that, she creams while also giving Daichi a charm. And I feel like this charm is gonna be of some significance in the future in this season. I don't know what, but you know, maybe it will like help the morale of Daichi or something like that. And then they walk in this gym or the stadium. What is it?
Sendai City Gymnasium.
They walk into this gymnasium, and Nishinoya and Tanaka are screaming in front of all of these teams and all of these players as soon as they walk in.
Yeah, they don't even hesitate. They're just being their usual crackhead selves.
And everyone's looking at them, and they're like coming up with ideas in their head, like all these girls are gonna like flock to them, and then Kyoko's like, "Do great out there," but she's really not saying that. She's just like, "What are you guys doing? Like, stop."
You're embarrassing me.
Nothing out of the ordinary. It's those two. Crackhead energy. So Hinata runs into his friends, and I feel like me and Jackie could take them if we were on a team together on a volleyball beach volleyball game. Maybe
It'd
not.
be a close one, but yeah, I think we could do it.
They just seem pretty bad.
Yeah. if there's anyone in the show we're defeating in beach volleyball, it's going to be those two.
And then right after that, Krasno runs into their first ever hater, I would say, because Yukai was talking about how he's always been there.
Oh, the old guy. I love the old guy.
He just hates on them when they're like...
He reminds me of Seattle Mariner fans.
He picks and chooses what he wants to hate on and what he wants to praise.
Yep. He's just been a Krasno fan for a long time, and he wants to go back to the glory days. That's all.
As soon as he leaves, there's a really cool animation scene with third years. And Daichi looks pissed, and the screen just goes like black, and they're all like looking at him. And they're like, "Man, we're gonna show him up." So Krasno has a cheer team all of a sudden.
Yeah, bandwagon fans go
No,
home.
literally, I put a bunch of bandwagoners. Like,
yes, they are.
And they're like, "Come on, we can do." We're like the neighborhood association's trying to hype them up, and it just doesn't work. It's not as good as Shiro Torizawa's hype team.
No, not even close. That's what happens when you're a bandwagon fan, though.
Yeah.
Like, that vice principal was wanting to shut the club down at the beginning of the show. And
yeah,
now he's
right?
like...
And wasn't he the one talking about how Sugawara should consider, like...
He's one of them,
taking up academics.
Yeah.
Anyways. So everyone's coming into the stadium. They're going to watch this game. Saiko and Yachi come in with Suki's brother. And he's, like, trying to hide. And he's like... Suki can't know I'm here.
It's like, dude, you're like 6 foot something, blonde haired, like 200 pounds. Like, everyone can see you.
And as soon as he's like about to sit down and talk about how he doesn't want his brother to see him, Suki is like glaring at him like he knows.
Well, and there just happened to be an empty seat right there.
Yeah. And Suki he watches, you know, like he knows his surroundings very well.
He probably could hear his brother squealing up there. So
yeah. And then Shiro Torizawa shows up. And their cheer team just obliterates Krasno's cheer team. And that's when Hinata looks at them like, whoa.
Whoa.
Or he looks at Ushijima and he's like, oh my god, I love this.
He loves Ushijima? He looks at Ushijima and says, oh my god, I love this.
Well, like, I don't know. He just gets hyped up.
That's the thing. Yeah, Hinata gets hyped up by the competitive atmosphere, for sure.
Yeah.
And facing something as good as Ushijima.
Ushijima has a cannon for an arm. Holy crap.
Yeah, he's strong boy.
Literal cannon. Strong. And apparently Pennywise plays for Shiro Torizawa. Wasn't expecting that.
Now that you said that, I won't be able to unsee it, though.
It's literally Pennywise. The hair, perfect.
Oh my god. He is a little monster.
Also, Shiro Torizawa has a lot of bangs. Now,
A lot of bang issues?
whether
Okay,
those-
someone get those boys a barber.
Whether those bangs are good is...
Debatable.
Yeah, that's a whole other debate.
They
I
got
just don't
bang
know
issues.
why they have...
Like, is it like a trend at Shiro Torizawa to have bad bangs? Or they're trying to make you dislike this team based on hairstyle alone.
Literally.
They like give Ushijima really normal hair
That was...
and ruin everyone else's.
Yeah, I was latching on to Ushijima's character while also paying attention to all these people, and I'm like, they really don't look likable yet. Like, I will have to see.
Fix your bangs first, and then we can talk.
It's so surreal hearing the announcer say Crossno next to Shiro Torizawa. It's just
Yeah.
like, they have made it. Even if they don't win this game, which I don't know. I feel like they won't, but...
They definitely have hyped Shiro Torizawa up to be unstoppable. Like, if
Exactly.
if Aoba Josai couldn't beat them ever, what hope does Karasuno have? Even though I get that they just beat Aoba Josai, but it was a really, really close. Yeah. Could have went either way.
Yeah. All I gotta say from this is Karasuno is gonna have to, like, pull some crazy stops here and throughout this whole game. But yeah, it's just so surreal. And then you have the announcer announcing all of these players that are gonna be in the starting lineup. Karasuno's first, and then Shiro Torizawa, and it's just like, they made it, you know?
They did it.
Nationals is right there. It's in their grasp.
Yep.
And I'm so proud of them that they've made it this far. Like, Season 1 was a doozy. Season 2 was even more of a doozy. And now we're here.
We're here.
So the game starts, set 1. And this is when they realize Ushijima is a very, very powerful player.
He's a beast. Yeah.
And Nishinoya, you can see the fire in his eyes. He's like ready to try to receive that spike from Ushijima. And he tries. Good effort on his part. But he doesn't get it right away.
Yeah, well, I think it's his first time he's ever seen anyone spike with their left hand. Well, I
Oh,
know.
yeah, he was like, come at me, lefty.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Mad Dog was ambidextrous and hit with his left hand once, maybe, if I remember right. But, like, Ushijima is left-handed.
Yeah.
So, totally different spin on the ball and everything.
After Nishinoya tries to receive the ball and fails, that is it for episode 1. The outro, I really like. Probably my
that's fun.
most favorite outro.
Yes.
I love the animation. I love how it shows all of the players from every single team in the show so far. So, going into episode 2, this episode is called The Pressure of the Left, which I'm already assuming is Ushijima. Karasuno's falling under pressure. Hate to see it. But what are you going to do against Ushijima?
He big boy.
Big boy, strong. The music really puts you into the game. It's that, like...
Yeah, it's like they one-up themselves on the soundtrack for the season. It's even better.
Definitely.
It's-
One-upped on everything. Imagery,
Yeah,
animation,
absolutely.
music.
They knew this game was big.
Yeah.
They didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah. They have to adapt to the lefty. Tsukishima does not give a flying fuck about anything. He is calm, though.
Yeah, he's definitely
give
calm
him
under
that.
pressure. Yeah, absolutely.
But everyone else is, like, hyped. Like, I'm ready to freaking beat Shiro Torizawa. And he's just, like... He doesn't even think they're going to win at this point.
Yeah, it's almost like everyone else kind of gets caught up in the hype around them, but he doesn't. He doesn't get sucked into that.
Which is a good thing, though. Because if you're too hyped up, you know... It could be an easy loss.
Yeah, I think with any sport for sure, but especially something that has the pacing that volleyball has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I noticed about Suki is he's spending too much time focusing on Ushijima and not enough on the overall game.
Yeah, he wants to stop Ushijima.
He knows.
Yeah.
At this point, they all know, like, we're not going to ever get one up on them or take a set if we don't figure out how to counter Ushijima.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that not only with his spikes, but his serves.
Oh, yeah.
His serves are insane. They're not as good as Oikawa's, but they are similar.
Yes.
And it's just insane. I think Daichi tries to go for the receive on that serve, but misses. I think it, like, ricochets or something. But, yeah. I feel like Suki is going to have the hardest time in this game just for the fact that he has to block Ushijima's cannon arm.
Yeah, little wiry Tsukishima against this, like,
Just
bulky, beefy Ushijima.
Just seeing his arms go up and you're like, "Fut." He's gonna break his arm. And there's a quote from Tadashi. After Suki tries to block one of Ushijima's spikes, Tadashi goes, "Suki, did you get a stinger on your finger?" And Suki's like, Suki just looks embarrassed. He's like, "Stop." Now is not the time.
Now is not the time to be my boyfriend.
You
can't act like they ain't. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Literally right after that, it pans to Psycho and all of Krasno's the real fans.
Yes. They were not the ones that have been there since day one. They've been through all the crappiness.
And in response to Ushijima's serve, Psycho says, "He's in high school?" And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, that's a grown-ass man. Literally. And then Nishinoya does it. He receives Ushijima's serve.
Dude, how hype.
Hype. How?
That's how good he is.
Nishinoya is just like, oh my god. Like,
I think we forget sometimes that he's one of the best Libros.
Yeah. When he came out, though, I was remembering, like, this is one of the best Libros.
Yeah.
And you could tell because the cheer of the crowd got a little louder for him. But yeah, he received Ushijima's serve. This boosts the morale. This is what they needed. This is what Krasno needs. So Krasno's finally doing it. After that receive, they're finally getting points. They're finally catching up, but they're still very far from Shiratorizawa. Mm-hmm. And then you have Pennywise, who's trash-talking Hinata the whole time.
Isn't that just annoying? Don't trash-talk our boy Hinata. Come on.
If he keeps trash-talking him, I'm going to riot. And it's just back and forth, and they just make you think that Shiratorizawa is, like, hammering it into them, and I don't know how they're going to stop Ushijima. I don't know how they can't stop him.
No one can stop Ushijima. He's a freaking freight train, dude.
They're just going to have to, like, conform to his power. This is another quote from Ushijima in response to Pennywise, aka Tendo. Tendo was talking about Hinata and talking about how fired up he is, and Ushijima says, "I loathe arrogance with nothing to back it up."
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you see Ushijima's a weird one because, you know, everyone you look at how everyone loves Hinata except for Ushijima. It's so weird. He's the only one that doesn't like him. You know, Ushijima really loved Oikawa, but in comparison, it's like he sees Hinata as just a bug in the way, you know, and it's weird. It kind of reveals a little bit about him, especially too because he seems really polite. He's a really polite young man. He's very stoic. He's very blunt about everything. You just can't imagine him having that strong of a feeling, but he's like, no, I hate Hinata. I hate him.
Literally.
And it's like, wow, how can you feel such strong emotions? Yeah.
For Hinata.
Out of all the people, I mean, I get that he said he was going to kick your ass, but I mean, you don't have to be upset about it, bro. You're 3 times his size.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty revealing of Ushijima.
Very. I was just like, okay, now I know exactly who Ushijima is from that one quote. And then Krasno has a synchronized attack.
Amazing.
The first one of the game.
Take a shot every time they say synchronized attack.
Literally. There's like 20 in the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Get sucked on Shiratorizawa. Krasno's finally doing it.
That was a weird back. Get sucked on. Krasno's finally doing it.
And then another quote, this time from Coach Yukai. He says, "We need to keep wearing him down, one attack after another." Crazy. Ushijima is like a final boss, and the rest of the players on that team are like his minions.
Yeah, that's definitely what it feels like. Like, he is the power of the powerhouse.
They've made it to Bowser's Castle, and now...
Yeah, exactly.
Tanaka just received Ushijima's serve with his face.
R.I.P. Tanaka.
R.I.P., but at the same time, I don't feel bad because he lies and tries to say that he knew it was going to happen. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Nobody wants to get six-packed, bro. Stop lying.
Yeah. Just when you think Hinata's spike is going to get them a point, Pennywise blocks it.
Yeah.
God damn, Pennywise. Thought we were over. It sounded like we were together.
I know.
We're over, Pennywise.
Oh my god.
And yeah, Shiratorizawa wins first point, or I mean, first set. Obviously, first point. First set. Going into episode thrice. Episode 3 is called Guess Monster. I'm guessing Pennywise is the guess monster.
That would be a good guess.
Anyone could have guessed that.
Yep.
They do a really good job at the second half of episode 2. They do a really good job at slowly bringing Tendo's character into it more.
Yeah.
To then have episode 3 be about him and his blocking style. I loved that. I love Tendo's theme music, that chaotic jazz. It just hits differently. It's like, it sounds like you should be afraid of it, but it's so good. I don't know how to explain it. He's very, like, instinctual, which, at the time for Crossno, like this episode, I don't think they're very good with instinctual players until, but I think it's easy for them to kind of figure out a way around it.
Yeah.
Especially just because he is all instinct, nothing else. Pennywise at it again. This is a quote from him. He's like, "One more pretty sir, pretty please."
Oh my god. There's a reason why he doesn't have any friends besides Ushijima.
Yeah, and
Tendo's really popular amongst the fandom.
I can appreciate his character.
Yeah, definitely. And I think did they talk about his backstory in this yet?
No.
Okay, alright.
I didn't see any backstory.
Alright.
Jackie spoiling it?
Just kidding. Of course, at this point you gotta know they're gonna give you backstory.
They have to. Tendo is blocking every single thing that Crossno is giving to them.
It's frustrating.
It is. It's a block that goes into Crossno's side. So it's not only a block that just blocks it, but it gets them the point.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. And I think Suki sees that and he's like, man, I gotta learn how to do that. He has to compete with that blocker, you know? I feel like they're trying, at this point, Crossno's trying to mimic Shiratorizawa in terms of power levels for each team player. But Crossno is already quickly learning how to counter Tendo, which is very good for them because at that point, I was like, they're going to lose set 2 also, just from Tendo. And then Suki, he gracefully shuts down Tendo's lag attack. That's exactly what Crossno needed in these last 2 episodes.
Yep.
And you can just see he was getting fired up right there. This is I think the start for Suki. This is the start for him to actually love the game.
Yep, absolutely.
Because at this point, like before when the game first started, he wasn't really he went into it thinking they were going to lose. Now he's like, well, maybe we have a chance. And you could see all of Crossno behind him cheering him on. That was really cool to see. And Suki right after that is talking to Tendo. And he says, "Hello, I'm Mr. Vanilla. Your timed lag attack, it might have been able to trip up our feral child, but it won't work on me. Continue to use it, though."
The sass.
Just wrecked.
The sass
Tendo is dead.
Suki.
Tendo's dead right there.
Yep. Just verbally destroyed him effortlessly.
Yeah. It seems like Suki pisses off Shiratorizawa more than any other player on Crossno. And I think that has a lot to do with him on the front line.
Yeah,
and him
definitely.
not giving a crap.
Yeah.
I like it, though, because you can tell it just pisses them off. Another synchronized attack, but this time Sugawara is in. Sugawara style.
My boy Suga.
Sugawara style always lit since it started. Did it start season 1? I think it did. No, season 2.
Season 2, yeah.
Because they were small in season 1. And then Tadashi's in. I was hyping Tadashi up. He did an amazing jump float serve. That ball just perfectly gliding its way across the net. But then they quickly get shut down and they don't get the point. Tadashi's out.
Thanks, Tadashi. You did your best.
Literally, my notes, it says Tadashi's in and he's out. It's like the quickest. I don't know if Cross is going to take this set. I think they might at this point. Yeah, they just keep hitting balls.
Keep slapping the balls.
And then they did it. They learned how to receive Ushijima spikes, finally. They baited Ushijima to I think it's the left, for Nishinoya to receive.
They opened up a path for Nishinoya, really.
Yeah, they were like, it's all on Nishinoya. Like, he's the only one that can do this.
Yep.
Going into episode 4, Full Moon.
I wonder what this is about. I wonder who's the main character of this episode.
Yeah, right off the bat, I'm like, this is a Suki episode. And even on High Dive, where Jackie made me watch.
Watch it on High Dive.
Yeah,
support High Dive.
Way better than Hulu or Netflix.
Yes, absolutely.
But High Dives, they give like little panels for like thumbnails, and it had Suki, so I was like, this has to be him. And it says Moon. He's the moon of the court.
He is the moon, yeah.
Imagery. Crows mobbing a white eagle, similar to what Crossno just did to Ushijima Spike.
Yes.
And Yachi brings that up, and Tsukishima's brother's like, how do you know that? She's like, well, I watched them play, you know, like, she's a smart girl.
She is really smart, yeah.
And the game just keeps going on, and then there's another setter dunk.
Your favorite. Isn't that your favorite move in all of sports?
No. That is my least favorite thing. Until Kageyama does it.
Then it's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool.
I can tell Suki is more into the game now than usual.
Yeah.
And I think Crossno can as well. They know something's up.
Yeah.
It's a deuce.
Yep, it's a deuce. Because it wouldn't be a game with Karasuno if there wasn't a deuce.
Kageyama come through with a setter dunk.
Not a boy.
It's your boy.
It's
Jackie's boy.
It's Jackie's boy.
I just can't. Kageyama's just too emotionless. I don't.
He's not emotionless. He's got lots of emotions.
But he's always angry.
Do you think
it's always anger?
Do you think Ushijima has a lot of emotions?
No, but I can't get behind his character either. Best quick attack ever. This is like the third quick attack from... No, this is like the 20th quick attack. What am I saying? I'm retarded. It's like the 20th quick attack, but it's the best one so far. Hinata hits that ball, makes it absolutely no trying on Shiro Torizawa's part. Could they even try? I don't think they could.
Couldn't.
Was it reverse tempo? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yukai says something about it. I don't know what he says, but it was pretty cool. Suki's onto something. He's scheming. He is scheming in this game. In this episode particularly. That scheme pays off.
The scheme pays off.
Suki says, I will not let them through. This is at the exact moment that he one-touches the spike from Ushijima.
Yes.
I got goosebumps.
Yes.
That was crazy. And they're all
amazing.
like, one touch. Ushijima's annoying me with his spikes. Why? They like wear him out. They just like, okay, it's Ushijima's turn. Everyone set the ball to Ushijima. Only him.
I'm telling you, he's like
the only player.
Yeah, it's like they rely on him too much. If you can shut down Ushijima, you can shut down. Well, I think this was said in the first episode too. Yukai says something along the lines of, if Iowa Josai is the most well-rounded team in the prefecture, then Shiro Torizawa is the least.
Yeah.
And I think you can see it. All Shiro Torizawa has going for it, really, on the surface, is strength and height, and that's it. And Ushijima is the pinnacle of strength and height in the show so far.
Well, Yukai even talks about it in this episode about Shiro Torizawa's coach, and says he's not really looking for good players per se. It's just tall, powerful. Mm-hmm. You know? So when we see that with Tendo, like, he's all instinctual. He's not really... But I feel like the synchronized attacks are Crossno's best bet at this point.
Yeah, they kind of...
Because they pretty much always work compared to the quick attacks. They'd be safer if they would do synchronized attacks. They've already done 3 of them, so it's working, obviously. Suki just blocked the hell out of Ushijima's spike.
Dude, the hype. The hype. The first time you see that, the hype.
And it's not just like a one touch. Like, it went over...
No, it's a kill block.
Yeah, it literally went onto Shiro Torizawa's side.
Yep.
And even Ushijima was, like, pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And that helps Crossno take the second set right there. Mm-hmm. And this was, like, the longest deuce. I think it went to 31 points.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
Why are you happy?
I'm not. Continue.
This is the longest jump they've taken.
Okay, Lev.
This is the moment Suki fell in love with volleyball.
They brought, from the beginning of season 2 when Bokuto and Kuro were telling him, like, you're going to have that moment.
They bring that flashback.
They bring it
right
in.
there.
Yep, that's been Suki's entire character since that conversation has been, when will he fall in love with this sport?
What great character development. Like, you have that in the beginning or the middle of season 2 all the way to season 3.
I mean, think about when...
And I don't think it's stopping.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. I mean, he's just fallen more and more in love with the sport, and it's completely different from the it's just a club guy that we saw in season 1. I mean, he's a totally different guy now. It's impressive, really.
It's completely different from the beginning of this game when he was like...
Yeah, and he
didn't think they were going to win.
Yep. He's realizing how fun it is to compete and win, and now he wants to keep that feeling going.
Yep.
Yep, definitely.
Also, the same scene where he's like screaming and like on the ground. It has to be rotoscoped. Like the way he's moving. It's a beautiful scene. It is.
It gets you. That scene, that was
goosebumps.
Yeah, I remember watching that for the first time. I mean, it's so cool to see it in manga form, but to see it animated is just something else completely. And oh, yeah, you feel it. You feel the hype. That was the moment for me when I fell in love with Tsukishima as a character. I didn't like him. I liked him as a character. I appreciated him as a character, I should say. I didn't necessarily like him until that episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, never mind, I've been wrong. And now when I go back and rewatch Haikyuu, as much as I dislike who he was, I'm aware of what great character development is coming, and I can appreciate it more.
Like Kageyama, he doesn't really know how to emote very well.
Yeah, he's
awkward.
Yeah, he's really awkward. He kind of keeps himself shrouded in a cloak of sass and assholishness. The same way Kageyama did. Kageyama's not clever enough for sass, but the same barriers up for sure.
So right after that scene of him just screaming, falling in love with volleyball, Hinata's like, you did great, like that block was amazing. He's like, thanks, I guess. Which I love to see from Suki more than anyone, because like you said, from the very beginning, he's just been cloaked as this sassy person, and you don't really get to see his emotions until now, like full force. And then Suki says, it was just one point. The real battle begins now.
What a man.
Suki has just become one of the best players right there.
Yeah,
in that one scene.
He elevated himself very quickly. Yeah. Once he committed himself to volleyball, he became better. I mean, instantly. His
was a long time coming, but once it was there, it was like instant growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what Yachi was talking about in the stands with his brother. He was waiting for that moment for them to slip up, for them to be pressured, for Suki to be able to actually block Ushijima. Which I think says a lot about Suki. Mm-hmm. He's not just a good player, but he's good in a sense that he knows what's happening. He's very smart. He knows how to strategize.
Yeah, definitely.
We even saw that in Aoba Josai game in season 2.
Yeah.
And Tanaka was like, what? He was like using Tanaka.
Yep.
That was amazing.
That was great.
These 4 episodes, amazing. Top tier.
Not a shock.
And it's just going to keep getting better. I already know. That's the formula with Haikyuu.
It's just every episode's better than the last.
So, can't wait.
Excellent.
And that is all.
Perfect. We did it.
We did it.
So I have 50 more episodes of Steven Universe in a movie. You have 6 more episodes of Haikyuu. And we'll be done. So we're not that far off, guys. Only a couple more episodes.
We're getting there. Can you believe we've made it this far? Like, I'm proud.
I'm impressed, especially when I think about how much we've watched in such a short amount of time. It's been kind of crazy, really. Both of us are taking years worth of hard work, and
we gotta end it right here. I'm sorry.
My name is Jackie, and I've been watching Steven Universe.
My name is Isaac, and I've been watching Haikyuu.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Jackie.
And Isaac.
From Nonessential Media.
We just want to thank you guys so much for listening, and if you'd like, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Patreon.
And we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're watching along with us and what your thoughts are.
You can find us on Twitter at Nonessentialm.
We're on Facebook as Nonessential Media.
We're also on Instagram at Nonessential Media.
Check out our website, nonessentialmedia.com.
So check us out.
Thanks again for listening. We truly appreciate every single one of you.
See you guys next Saturday for a new episode of Beach City CROWS. Bye. Skibbly babbly bop.